So the Bible speaks about God being the Father of spirits, and that He chastens us so that we might live. And the way He chastens us is righteous. But it also kind of alluded to there's a way that you can be chastened in human beings, because it's like it says that your human fathers basically disciplined you according to what they viewed as right. And here's the thing that's the hardest thing to kind of live through and then evolve their relationship as you get older, as you're this young man that you're becoming. I didn't do it right. There are some times when I overstepped in what I've said to you verbally. There are some times when I definitely overstepped when I spanked you and didn't need to. And the grace that God allows has allowed me to operate in has allowed me to see those things sometimes and then come back to you and apologize and say, "Hey, I raised my voice at you. I shouldn't have done that. I've I punished you in a way for doing something that was unnecessary, and I see the impact that it's had on you." And so there's one very particular incident or a series of incidents that happened where, as I look back on it, I'm like, that wasn't the right way to discipline you and to get you to come into the right way of doing things. And so this is when you were a toddler and you were wet to bed. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, I have to get him to see that this is not a good thing. And the only way I knew in the moment to do that was to spank you, and then have you, like, when you got old enough, you were old enough to be able to like change your towels, change your sheets, put them in the washing machine and all that. But it always came, the repercussion was a spanking every time, because I'm like, I need something to click in here that's like, ooh, I can't let this happen. But I overplayed it, and I realized that I overplayed it because when you got older, you had this thing where it's like, I can't make a mistake. Um, and you've gotten better with it. But I think that at one point in time, I need to sit you down and allow you to heal from, look, Daddy did it wrong, and I see this perfection that you're trying to operate in, and when you don't hit it, you would kind of tense up. And I'm like, the Lord showed me, and when I was reading a book, I can't remember what it was, but He showed me like this is tracking back to when you spanked him for peeing in bed. It's like he wasn't doing it on purpose. And so the measure and the course of action that you took has caused him to try to be perfect in all things. And you need to apologize for that, give room for Jesus to come in and heal his heart so that he's not walking around super tense about any mistake that he makes. Do you remember me having this conversation with you?
No.
Wow. So this book was talking about like healing from emotional harm. And what it said was, give a person a chance, take them back to a traumatic instance in their mind, have them close their eyes and imagine this instance where they were hurt or harmed, and have them envision Jesus coming in and stepping in to protect them from whomever or whatever hurt or harmed them. And so I had you come in, I had you go back to this time where you were in the bed and you had wet the bed. And before I could come in and spank you, Jesus came in and consoled you. Jesus came in and protected you. Jesus was like, no, don't touch my son. Jesus said, no, let me help you clean this bed. Jesus comforted you. And as you were imagining this, I remember like you cried a little bit, but I could tell that it something shifted and you were able to be healed in that moment. And I haven't seen you be as tense since then. I can't remember what age you were, but you definitely were, in elementary school. And so it's interesting that you don't remember that, but these are the type of course corrections that I, as a father, have to do so that you don't carry this into your adulthood, because I was seeing how it was manifesting in your life. Um, and so it takes a lot for me to be able to say, or I would say a father in general, to say I'm sorry, because we're supposed to be leading y'all, and we just had a whole conversation about this on Sunday where I'm like, man, I'm leading you all, but when I make these errors in front of you all, it's really tough sometimes, because I'm like, man, I'm the one that's supposed to be in front, but I make mistakes too. And sometimes I found out that I'm just as hard on myself. So I've been talking too much though. Like, what are your thoughts on what I'm saying? Is it? Are you remembering this time more now as I talk about it?
I don't remember that time, but I do remember we had a conversation very similar to this one, like a couple years ago. Just revisiting that moment.
Okay, what do you remember about the conversation?
It went very similar to what we just did now. I don't really think about it that often, and I don't think it affects me anymore, which is that's good.
Yeah. Do you think now it doesn't affect you? How do you think it affected our relationship? Was there like I know there had to have been a fear. Like take me back if you can remember any time where like you realized you went to bed and you was like, I gotta go tell daddy and he's gonna be upset and he's gonna spank me. Like that took actually a lot of courage as a child for you to come because I don't never remember you hiding it. You always come in and be like, Daddy, I went to bed. And you knew what the outcome was gonna be, but you came in every time.
Yeah.
And so do you remember that?
I mean, probably just pure dread, like because I knew what was going to happen. There's nothing to stop it.
But you did it anyways, though. That shows some strength and some character at a young age that I never thought about until just now. And so I salute you for doing that. I'll never remember finding you know how kids do stuff and they don't really think what they're doing. Like I don't remember finding your towels in the trash or your linen in the trash or somewhere where you tried to like make it so you couldn't smell it or see it or whatever. You always came to us in the middle of the night, even though you knew what the repercussions were going to be. So that's a level of strength that has been inside of you for a long time. And it's funny how we can in our desire to kind of course correct and make sure that this thing that's happening doesn't happen anymore, we miss things like that. So I'm happy to have this conversation with you because it allows me to see it, but more importantly, it allows you to see it. Right? That inner resolve, that inner character that you were showing at a very, very young age to continue. And I am thankful that you are the type of son where I don't have to worry about you lying to me. Right? I'm very thankful for that because it allows me to trust you. I mean, I'm sure you got away with some stuff, but by and large, you are the type of person who I can have a better relationship with as my son because it's like I don't have to try to figure out, is he even telling me the truth right now? Like we have that. How do you see me coming back and saying like I got that wrong? How does that affect you? Are you like, man, do you see me as you supposed to get everything right? Or like how do you process me owning up to when I've done something incorrect?
I mean, parents are also humans, and so they make mistakes. Then you got to think parents. I mean, I'm a firstborn, so that's my parents' first time ever doing it.
Facts.
So
I would say that to you. I remember I said like this is my first time raising a black boy. Same as your sister. It's my first time raising a black girl. I'm not gonna get it right, and it's not like I'm willfully trying to get it wrong, but it's just there is a handbook. It's called the Bible, but sometimes you fumble it. The execution is flawed. The intentions are good, but the execution is flawed. And so I'm still gonna get it wrong, but I think you know enough about me to know that I will admit when I get it wrong and I will try to correct. And so that's it, man. That's our time. I appreciate you still doing this, still being willing to be down with it, and we'll carry on next week.
Yeah.